always check out the free events, nationalcleaningexpo.com, nationalcleaningexpo.com. Yes, I always give away prizes, guys. If you chime in over here on the right, just chime on in, and we're definitely going to get you guys some prizes. Always giving away prizes. I might even give away a guidebook today. One of the things you can ask questions. You've seen the title of this thing. What do you do for customers for Christmas? Matter of fact, what do you do for customers all year round? What kind of promotion things are you running? What are you doing for your customers? One of the things, and this is primarily commercial, but we can talk about residential too, because there are cool things that you can do for good customers, for referrals, things like that. You can actually have customers entering in monthly giveaways that you do, whatever they might be. They might be free house washes, all these sorts of things. But the primary thing is I'm going to focus on is commercial customers. I'm going to tell guys right now, one of the best things to do if you're dealing with commercial customers, and there's a variety of commercial customers. How you doing, Mertz? There's a variety of commercial customers, and the strategies on these types of customers are going to be a little bit different. So when I'm talking about a certain strategy for handling customers as far as Christmas parties, gifts, things like that, one, I'm going to always tell you guys this: make sure that the customer that you're going to gift to is allowed to, that most all of them will have a corporate amount that you can give them without, being a bribery type thing. In the past, it's been $50 usually. I think the 50, it's turned into 100 because of inflation. When you're out going to give gift cards per se to restaurants and things like that, I think that you realize that, man, you can't even hardly eat at a burger joint now. Two people can't eat at a sit-down burger joint for less than $50. And take your family, it's $125. So you want to establish, first and foremost, what is going to be a decent amount of money? What is the customer's value? If you think all customers are created equal, you're absolutely out of your mind. We spent hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars on certain customers throughout the year, doing things. And I'm not talking about bribery, because some of these guys get all wept up. You're bribing them. No. We do certain things for certain customers, and we might help in their charities, which if we're helping their charities, or they want us to donate to a charity, or they request us to donate to a charity, depending on who they are, if they're doing several $100,000, we're not going to give them a $50 donation. We're going to give them a respectable donation based upon the amount of revenue that we're doing. So we may give them, and I'll tell you a little story. There's a contractor here in Phoenix that basically had a huge contract, I think $12 million. And he called me up and says, hey, Rod, I know you deal with this a lot, and the mayor's called me and asked me for a donation, and I don't do that. And I respect that, and sometimes clients will respect that too. If you don't do it, don't do it. But if you're going to do it the right way. Giving a $12 million client a $50 gift card is kind of like an insult. You know what I mean? And especially if they're asking for a donation for a charity, for basically in both your names to be donated. They're basically soliciting you to say, hey man, will you help this cause, because we're behind it and we would like your support. Don't go give them a $50 card if they're doing $12 million. Now, if you take the stance that you don't do it, that's okay. Don't do it. But giving them $50 versus not doing it is like an insult. Establishing something where if it's a $12 million deal, they're looking for a considerable donation. I mean, they're looking for $1,000 to $5,000 in a donation. That's what they're expecting on some type of a $12 million deal. If you're doing $100,000 with a client, maybe a $500 donation, maybe a $250 donation, something like that. I mean, it's not necessarily perceived, but you're not going to give them $50. Again, it's an insulting thing if you were to donate $50 and you were doing $12 million. You'd be better off don't donate anything. Just take the stance that we just don't do that. And there's nothing, like I said, there's nothing wrong with that type of mentality. If you don't donate, you don't donate. You just explain to them that, hey, we have our charities that we deal with every year. We've chosen not to really contribute to any others other than the ones we're involved with, blah, 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 blah. You give them the whole scenario. They're going to respect that. They're going to, hello, Facebook user. Last guy that chimed in, I don't know who you are because it's not showing your name, but if you want to throw your name in there, I'll give you a shout out. So it's all relevant to what, to the client. Now, I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to start with a lower end level client, and we'll go on all the way to the beginning. So I don't want to use restaurant GMs as bottom of the barrel because I have a lot of friends of mine that are restaurant GMs. I'm like, Ron, you said we're bottom of the barrel. Okay, they're not in the respect of them themselves. Restaurant GMs make some of them make $125,000. A lot of times they're making more money than somebody that has a several $million budget. His property managers in reality don't even make as much money as some of the restaurant GMs. But the amount of revenue that you do at their location is a lower amount of revenue. So you're not going to be able to justify giving them a $500 gift card. So I think the $25 gift card turned into a $50 gift card is now the $50 gift card. So a low end gift card to give to a client. And by the way, restaurant GMs love to eat out. Believe it or not, they work in the restaurant business, but they love to go out to their competitors and eat out. Not because they want to check their competitors out. It's just that if they're really into what they're doing, they really like to get into the dining experience. They like to be sitting on the other side of that sometimes because so often they're serving so many people that they like to just go out and relax. I got a guy here, Salvatore. He has a great Italian restaurant. I see him out at other Italian restaurants. Now, he is probably checking the competition out a little bit, but I know that when him and his wife go out, they're always dressed up. They look great. And they're just out having their own time, their me time. And I run into him all the time at restaurants. It's kind of funny. Probably run into him more at other restaurants. And he loves another local place here it's a Middle Eastern place that he goes to where we have like a semi-famous chef, and he likes to go there. Because why? Because they network with each other. They're friends. So, when you know that this is going on, there's places that they love to go to, obviously, if you know something about them, involve something in gifting them to make it personal. That's more important probably than anything that I'm going to tell you, is to open your eyes up and to know if you're going to be giving something to your clients, make the thing a little bit personal rather than just go out and buy a bunch. I want to buy a bunch of Subway gift cards and they're cheap and I'm going to go out and give them to everybody. I always tell everybody this. If you're going to use a widget, okay, like a lot of guys, and I'll just use this cup for example. This is a very nice coffee mug, okay, and it probably to get your name engraved on this thing, it's probably going to cost you nearly like $20 a cup or $10 a cup. Still relatively, it's not like you got a keychain and you got a bunch of them, you got 1,000 of them for $400 or something like that, where they're going to throw that thing away. They're not even going to use it. This is something that they might use. I always tell people that if you're going to use a marketing widget or an item, or you're gifting somebody something, make it worth it so it's not going to wind up in the garbage. If you're giving something out that's going to wind up in the garbage, you're wasting your marketing dollars. You're wasting them. Utilize something that's always going to be around. I'll tell you right now, this is one of the things. I'm going to let you guys, a little secret on commercial customers. We use these all the time. These are Post-it holders, and look, they've got our name and our number engraved in them. We love giving these to clients because what do? They sit right on top of their desk. Oh, and guess what? We can come in and give them refills, so we have an excuse to come in and see them. So something like that is a really cool gift because it's something that they're going to use. They're not gonna throw this away. They're not throwing this away. They're gonna absolutely use it. Now, with that in mind, when you're talking about something like this, and the Seitzes, Lisa Seitz, I don't know if you're familiar with the Seitzes, but they own the Power Wash store, PA. And one year they were running my candy jar program, and Lisa got the candy jars and she made them really wild and crazy, and they stuck out like a sore thumb. And she didn't really understand it, that if you're going to give a gift like this to go in their offices, if they're professionals, you guys can hardly see that's engraved. It does not need to be loud and boisterous. If it is, they probably will throw it away. They won't be able to keep it in their offices. If you guys have seen some of these higher end commercial customers, their offices they're investment companies. It's pristine. They don't have, they don't have big pins laying around. They have, pins that cost, $200 a piece. They're not, they don't, so you giving them a pin with your name on it, they're not going to use those. Okay. They're just not, it's not going to be, the guy who owns the company is going to tell them, hey, get those dang things out of here. We have investment clients coming in they're managing millions and sometimes $billion portfolios. They have an image that they're trying to cast. They don't want stuff like that. You'd be better off if they're worth it, if the client's worth it, to give them a set of nice designer pins, maybe the box set where the engravings inside the box, where you presented it to them, and they keep that box in their drawer. And yeah, the pen may not have your name on it, but guess what? Every time they use it, they're going to think about it. And when the pen doesn't work anymore, they're really going to think about you, because they're going to think, man, why didn't he come back and give me another set of pens? Or I wish he would, because I really dig these pens. So I don't want to dribble on about that, but I think you get the point. Whether the client is a $1 million client, or he's a $100,000 client, or he's a $10,000 client, you have to be able to utilize what type of gift you're going to give them, or what you're going to be doing for them. Is very, very, very important, guys. Very important. What I always tell guys is that on the lower end where you're doing it, like that GM, we'll go back to the GM in the restaurant. What they really like, and you really want to help the GM out, and this is about helping them out, is if you want to give them like $10 gift cards, give them a restaurant card, gift them their restaurant card so they can take their wife or their husband out for the $50 to their nice little restaurant that they want to go to. But then give them another 5 cards at $10 a piece to maybe like Starbucks, and say, hey Bill, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. I'm giving you these cards to give out to your key employees. They really dig that. And then they also understand that, wow, Ron's a pretty smart entrepreneur. He knows that, man, I got to keep my staff happy. So he gave me 10 more gift cards that I don't have to maybe necessarily come out of my budget, but he's such a great guy, and he knows what he's doing as far as marketing goes and employee retention, that he's told me, hey, here's 5 more cards. I want you to just give these to your friends, or maybe key employees or somebody. They're only $10 gift cards, but they can get a free Starbucks with it. No problem. Leave the guy a tip. And a lot of GMs really love that. They love the idea that you are looking out not just for them, but you're looking out for their extended, what we might say, family or employees or relationship, because they always got somebody. And you know what? It's funny, because when you sit there and you give them those type of cards that they have around, and this was something that my mother did. My mother always had like extra gifts. Somebody would come over during the holidays, and we'd be like, oh man, they showed up at the door. We don't have a gift. You did not have to worry. My mother could go into that closet, whip out a gift, wrap it up, boom, 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 boom. And the next thing you know, like, well, right, where did mom get the gift for? We haven't seen them in 2 years. She had a gift for them, And when I was younger, I didn't realize this, but she just had a little stockpile. Now the GMs on those little gift cards that you might give them, you can use them in the same way. If they forgot somebody, might even be one of their stupid relatives, that, the bonehead nephew that they don't do anything for. And they're like, hey, nephew, I haven't seen you in a long time. And, hey, what, I got you a gift card. Here it is, and he gives them your $10 Starbucks card. Those type of things are remembered. It's a retention thing. And then they remember, oh, Ron gave me those cards. Man, that came in handy, blah, 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 blah. And they call you up after the holidays and they thank you and go, wow, man, you gave me those gift cards. I didn't really get what you're doing. But then, I realized I gave one to one of my key employees. My nephew showed up out of nowhere. We were able to, I had a gift card. I remember my wife was all worried about it. I was able to give her the card. She went and wrapped it in an envelope, boom, gave it to him. And all those things start working. And I know a lot of you guys are going like, what is it? What is he talking about? These are building relationships. And when you start building these relationships and you become a little bit closer, not friends with your clients, but you start doing things that matter to them and helping them out, helping their causes, guess what? When you ask them for the referral or they got somebody that mentions they need something, they're always going to think about you and they're going to give you their number. And these are the type of things that you have to work in your marketing and your sales. And this is what's important about when you're doing these type of things. Now, you're going to think I'm crazy about this. I hate gifting and doing things at Christmas time. And I'll tell you one of the biggest reasons why. We usually would gift everything well before the holidays even started. So we're talking back in early November, and we were pretty much done. And I'll also tell you another great idea that I did with all commercial clients and friends. Hang on for this one because you're going to love this one. I'm going to do that right after I do this deal here. But you go ahead and you do something way before Christmas, and even clients that are even the more important ones, do something after the holidays. And here's why. Everybody right now, and times have changed a little bit, but let's go pre this crazy time period we've been in for the last 2 years. You walk into the office at December 10th, and you wouldn't believe the stuff that they have. I mean, they're tripping over gift baskets. They've got so much chocolate, so much food. They don't even know what to do with it because they have all these purveyors that drop this stuff off. So what happens? Your stuff gets diluted in there with all their stuff. A great time of the year because there's no retention on anything that you're doing marketing wise. Now, some will say, Ron, you're always trying to get something for what you're doing. Absolutely. That's the whole thing. Whether you do a charity event and you can't fake the charity event. You have to be doing this, from the heart and have a little bit of grit. But you're always trying to materialize goodwill, fellowship, building stronger relationships. And yes, often getting introductions, referrals, things like that. This is business, and they understand this too. They understand these are the reasons why. These are the reasons why you're doing these things. This is absolutely the reasons why you're doing everything. I'm going to close up with something I did for nearly 20 years, and it was probably one of the most successful things that I ever did. We would always have an influx of business because I know some guys don't understand about budget season, but budget season was always before the holidays. It started sometimes in July, ran all the way through October. By November, it's over. And as a commercial person, you would know for your following year what your numbers were going to be because you had signed contracts. Like all the contracts are already signed for 2022. So we already know what our projected numbers are for 2022. The contracts are all in place. Old contracts that rolled over are all in place. So we always hired more people because we always had more growth. January, it typically is the busiest month for a commercial contractor. And the reason is because you signed all these new agreements and you're trying to bring all these new things online. Reality is that you want to train employees, and we struggle with training employees because when you're going to increase business like that, you can't train employees when it's time to go. That's like putting a kid in the game in the batter's box. He's never been in the batter's box to say, okay, man, go hit, Johnny. Hit a home run. You've never been in the batter's box before, but we know you're going to hit home run. You're going to strike out. Johnny's going to strike out. So we figured out, okay, what are we going to do? We have to train these guys months in advance. We have to have them prepared and ready to go because January 1, we immediately increased portfolio. We're going to have more units on the street. Bam, 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 bam. So I was like, what can we do? We could take them out and have them stand over and watch our contractors. But the reality of it is that slows us down. Really, when you're training somebody, it slows you down. So then we can have a bad November and December while we're trying to train these guys. So one of my right-hand guys came with an idea. He says, Ron, he says, all your friends, you wash their driveways for free and we give them a pie. And we're doing a few of them, and we've been doing a few of them for a few years. And he says, we took a couple of the trainees out there and we did that and, worked out pretty good because they got their feet a little bit wet and they knew what they were doing. So we rounded up our trainers starting at the beginning of November and all the way through December. And we started to wash every influential client, every close friend that we had. And we even expanded to close friends to some of the people that were even in my network as far as our key salespeople said, hey, who are your guys that you want to build more relationships with, friends of yours that are decision makers. And so we expanded that. And what we did is we started washing their driveways for free. And we started giving them pies based on who they were. We didn't give everybody pies, but we had it up to almost 200 driveways between November and December that we washed completely for free for most of our major clients, most of our close friends that gave us a lot of referral business. And we did that as a marketing campaign and a sales campaign. Obviously, it was gold because these people would absolutely refer us, absolutely were references. They absolutely loved it. It solidified relationships. And it was probably one of the best things that I ever did. Yes, it's $0. We washed their entire driveway for free. And we did that every year for, I want to say almost 15 years. And we did it. And the clients loved it because what they get, they got a free cleaning. My friends loved it. Friends now call all the time. Hey, Ronnie, you coming over to get my driveway? I'm like, no, man, I'm not. We're not doing that anymore. We're not washing your driveway for free anymore, but I really appreciate it. But hey, I'll come drop your machine off if you want. You can wash your own driveway. But we did that for years, and it was one of the best campaigns we ever ran. Worked like a gem. Really, like I said, solidified relationships. Guys, you obviously don't have potential hundreds of clients, but you have some key people, and you need to start thinking about them. And maybe these are people that you should go out and take care of. If they're commercial clients that are really good or you're trying to expand them, it is also going to help with that. Guys talk all the time about, hey, how can I expand a commercial client? Well, these are the way you do it. Through their charities, do something for them for free at their house, blah, 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 blah. They love this kind of stuff. They really do, guys. They really do. I got a question here. I got one question from a person. Let's read this question. I didn't take any. This is it. I'm going to take questions for a few minutes, and then we can wrap this thing up. My best customer operations manager for the city I live in. Would it be no good to give a gift to a city employee? Bottom line is they're okay. So there are government things and there are publicly traded companies. If you give a Walmart manager a cookie plate, okay, you could get blackballed from their corporate. The city guy, it's probably going to be a questionable thing as well. So I'm glad you brought this up, Corey. If you're a publicly traded company, and that's why I said at the very beginning of the video, find out what they're able to do. If it's $0, you cannot do it. If it's $50, if it's $100 that they're able to give a gift, they'll know and they'll be able to tell you. And a lot of times you just, ask them. I mean, that's just the best thing to do. Hey, are you allowed to accept gifts during any time period that we're doing business with you? And they'll straight up tell you, they'll say, no, it's absolutely not allowed. If we did it, I could get fired and you could be blackballed from doing city work. So yes, you always need to make sure that you ask the customer or the client or the potential client if this is a legitimate for them to do so. Nine times out of 10 it is. The only ones that you're going to get really that are really bad about it is, and I found out some cities will allow it. It's just that it has to be within their guidelines. Some, no, absolutely not. They don't allow it. And I found out that most of the time, most of the private entity corporations, they don't mind if you do this. They also don't mind. Here's one more little secret. Helping them out for their charities. You understand this? Meaning washing a pre and post wash if they're doing a charity event, and we actually offer everybody that all year long. If they have a charity event that they need help with cleaning and they're a client of ours, we are happy to help them. That's our community too, so we love doing that. That's probably my number 2 thing besides washing it. Number 2 thing is we will volunteer for their charities, and most of the time the cities are involved in those things too, so they're going to be glad that you do that. And yes, I've gotten a few city contracts by doing that. I got one huge one with Richmond American Homes. We did a Christmas in April. Really quickly, I'll tell this story. One of the VPs called me up and said, "Hey, Ron, I know you've been trying to get our business. We don't currentently do any business with you right now." He says, I called our current pressure washing company that we have a $300,000 or $400,000 contract with to wash our communities, and he turned me down helping. And a buddy of mine over at another group gave me this letter that you sent out and says that you are willing to help with any charity in the community for pre and post washing. And this is not a pre or post thing. We're just trying to do this nice thing for this widowed veteran, and we're doing a Christmas in April at her house, and we'd love you to come and do the post-construction cleanup on the house and wash it and make it look really nice. And by the way, every news channel in town's going to be there. and he goes, I really feel bad asking you because our guy told us no, and you don't even do any work with us, but I'm asking you. And I said, of course we'll help you. Well, long story short, after we got done with that event, got all the news media coverage, all the things, we made connections there because there was people there that we knew, because it was a big deal, as far as, in the community. When you're doing these type of things, you meet all the construction bigwigs and all the people, all the vice presidents, all the presidents, all the CEOs. They're all there, so you get to shake hands, kiss babies and network and do all those things, which is in itself is a great opportunity. But reality is that after this was done, we got fax machine rang. This is back in the 1900s. Fax machine rang. Actually, it's early 2000s. Fax machine rang, and through the fax machine came this contract worth over $250,000 with that guy. They had let the guy that wouldn't do the washing go, and they basically gave us the rest of the contract, and then we did work for them for years and years and years after that. I got a plaque that's posted on the internet. I'll probably try to tie it here on this video. They gave us a nice little plaque for it. One of the coolest things I ever did was we did we did Habitat for Humanity, Oprah Winfrey, and we were involved in building a couple of houses. They built a couple of houses for her in like 72 hours. It was pretty crazy. And we met a lot of people on that. I actually have some videotape of that, and it was a pretty cool thing. And we connected with Home Depot through that event. We connected through Church's Chicken, and this is just the types of ways you can network and make decent connections. Guys, been 30-minute video now, man. I appreciate you guys coming on. Ron Musgraves, Pressure Washing Institute, Contractors First. Hope you got a little bit of nuggets out of this video. Have a great day.